Any and every glass bottom boat operator in Tobago can tell you that the Nylon Pool got its name because of the crystal clear water that was as transparent as Princess Margaret's nylon stockings. The British Royal made this observation when she visited the sandbank area where she could walk around in shallow water far out at sea off the coast of Tobago. When Princess Margaret had visited Tobago, the first time she visited Tobago was in 1955. The second time she visited Tobago was around the time Trinidad and Tobago became an independent nation in 1962. Now, she got married in the early 1960s. We're not too sure if she came with Mr. Armstrong on this particular visit or if she came with herself and just some of her friends. But what we do know is that Mr. Cecil Anthony, a fishing boat captain, would have taken her out to sea on a big rowboat, and he had 3 other workers with him. They were his employees. And at that time, global warming had not caused the ice caps in the North Pole and the South Pole to melt, and as a result, the waters become a lot deeper, or at least notably deeper than it was in that time. And so a little island used to appear right there in the Nylon Pool, which today we call Pikaboo Island. As a matter of fact, I'll take you off on a little tangent. If you go on the Green Tobago Tours page, you would notice that if you type in large Pikaboo Island appears in the middle of the Nylon Pool, or combine any of those words as best as you could remember it, you would see a video of that same Pikaboo Island appearing even larger than it appeared according to the oral history when Princess Margaret was there. But it was big enough for them to have little picnics and dance and etc. on that no man's land, not no man's land rather, but Nylon Pool, Pikaboo Island, which it wasn't called Pikaboo at the time. That is a Green Tobago Tours name that everybody has adopted since the second video that was made was posted and it got over 370,000 views on Facebook. But that was not on Facebook anymore because that was a live feed, and live feeds only last for about 30 days or so. Anyway, so they was having a little picnic and or dance party going on Pikaboo Island in the Nylon Pool, and she didn't want her nylon stockings to get damaged. So she took off her nylon stockings. How do I know that? It have a book called Songs Like London. I wonder if I could find the paper, the article, to find out the name of the individual. Lloyd Bradley would have written a book called Songs Like London. And on page 52, he talk about exactly this. You see, we well researched and we does read with daily periodicals all the time, with Green Tobago Tours. That is how we always ahead of the game. Anyway, so she take off she nylon stockings, and perhaps she didn't know that in the Nylon Pool, as suddenly as Pikaboo Island does appear, is as suddenly as it does disappear with the rising and the falling of the tide. So when she looking now for she nylon stockings, she couldn't find her nylon stockings. Why she can't find her nylon stockings? And why her friends can't find her nylon stockings? And if Cecil Anthony and his staff were looking for it also, why nobody could find it? Because the water is as crystal clear as the nylon stockings. And even today when you visit, it's as crystal clear. And the reason for that is that if you look at the sun underneath the water, you'll notice that it is much whiter than average. That is because it's calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate is a scientific name for limestone. And this limestone is something that the animals that form the corals only about half a mile or so away in the Buku Coral Reef, or the Buku Reef rather, depending on what you want to call it. All that polyps, all those polyps, those millions of polyps that form those corals, they excrete that calcium carbonate to form something called an extraskeleton. And it's that extraskeleton that they hold on to, or that they use to stay stationary right in that reef area, so they can continue to live and feed off the algae underneath them and all of that stuff. But let me don't go too far. One group of tourists from Massachusetts, USA wanted to know more information than the bare minimum. So they booked a visit to the Buku Reef, Nylon Pool, Bonaccord Lagoon, where they could see the light show that is the bioluminescence tour before sunrise, and to No Man's Land with tour company Green Tobago Tours on a private early morning charter aboard a massive comfortable glass bottom boat equipped with amenities such as a toilet facility and surround sound music on the top floor. Their tour guide was a former research officer in the Tobago House of Assembly's Office of the Minority Leader and the present public relations officer of the Tobago Writers Guild. As the American group walked on the crushed calcium carbonate white sand less than 2 feet under the surface of the water, in what could appear at first glance to be a swimming pool in the middle of the sea, their tour guide explained to them that it had been passed on through oral history that Princess Margaret took note of the similarity between her stockings and the water, because she may have been having a difficult time finding this lost part of her clothing from that vast area. One particularly clever patron on this tour already knew that the princess was a free-spirited woman whose marriage with her husband Anthony Armstrong Jones was not the most monogamous of unions. How could she have lost the nylon stockings out here unless she had taken them off? And why would she have felt the need to do so, the visitor asked mischievously. The two of us start to scratch our heads. I wonder if she was doing what she famous for doing. You see, our royal family biographer said in a show or a documentary, I'm going back in my daily periodical to see if I could find out the name of the documentary, because I don't remember everything offhand there. Ah boy, look, I find it. Princess Margaret's Caribbean Love Affairs. He stated, and as I have the periodical open, I would read it. The princess would disappear to the beach to have sex whenever she was on another southern Caribbean island, not Tobago. This one was called Mystique, and is not too far off the coast of St. Vincent. Just in case you're wondering how far St. Vincent is from Tobago, if you was to go just a little bit north and a little bit west from Tobago, the first island that you would meet is Grenada. And from Grenada, there are hundreds of little islands that join Grenada. Well, it's so close you could swim from one to the next until you reach St. Vincent. So it was very close. And so we was wondering if it's that she was doing. Was she accustomed to it when she on the island of Mystique, which is one of those islands between St. Vincent and Grenada. Anyway, once we did our research and we read the book that I just tell you about, Songs Like London, we discovered that she was just having a fun time and she was dancing with her friends. So don't always push to conclusions, as we, before we do research, had built a little hypothesis about. Or theory rather. Anyway, it is noteworthy to remember whenever we talk about the less than fully monogamous relationship that Princess Margaret had with Mr. Armstrong, that by all accounts, she was a very good princess and a faithful one in the marriage. is Mr. Armstrong was giving trouble. That man was having extramarital affairs with men and women alike. Let me give you a quick joke. When she started game back what he was giving she, horn we just call it in Trinidad and Tobago, she turned to him and she said, you know your friend? I can't remember the name of the friend and it, not in the periodical. But let me call him Barry. She said, you know your friend Barry? He said, yes. She said, I had sex with him, you know, thinking she could spite you. He said, I don't care about that. I had sex with Barry too. So that's the kind of relationship they had. But that doesn't stop the tour guides from telling you, because most of them don't even know that story that I just shared with you, that it has become a myth or it has become tradition to share some of the things that they say Princess Margaret said about the Nylon Pool when she went there. Because she went there on more than one occasions, according to Mr. What is his name? Lyndon Anthony. Lyndon Anthony is the grandson of the sister of Cecil Anthony, who owned the vessel that used to take Princess Margaret and her friends out to the Nylon Pool. And also to the Buku Reef, etc. Because back then, this was before the 1970 Marine Preservation and Enhancement Law that protects every single thing in the Buku Reef, in the Nylon Pool, on no man's land, so that is why they can't build sandals over there, but I see they want to build something else similar. And in the Bonaccord Lagoon. So they used to do like a fishing tours there also, where they would catch like a small fish, because the Coral Garden area is the only area you really find fish. And you'll find it in the Bonaccord Lagoon area too, but even then it would have been a bit unconscionable to do some fishing there, because that is where the mother fish like to go to spawn and have the lay the eggs, etc. for the young ones to spend the first year. The second, third, and fourth is when they will be in the Buku Reef, so you could do a little fishing there and catch a little small fish. Anyway, what they say that she said when she got to the Nylon Pool is that married couples, if you kiss under that water there, what you have is going to last forever. I am legally obligated to let you know that after quite a few years of the back and forth and the fighting and the horning and all of that, they did eventually get separated and divorced by 1976. But she also said, according to the majority of tour guides out here in Tobago, that ladies over 40, when you dip into the Nylon Pool water, you're supposed to get at least 10 to 20 years younger. We caution you, it does take a little while to kick in. So don't cost your tour guide when you now jump off the boat and you're looking the same way. For men over 40, with your lady looking under 10 years younger than you, or over 10 years younger than you rather, you need a little bit more wisdom. So that is what the Nylon Pool does give you, according to Princess Margaret. Don't quote me, Leroy George of Green Tobago Tours. Unlike the other tour companies in Tobago that only know where the best locations are for tourists and domestic or international, Green Tobago Tours also knows exactly when to visit these spots. So if you want to know the best time to visit the Nylon Pool when the water is so shallow that perhaps even the Pikaboo Island may appear, or when to visit No Man's Land and the Bonaccord Lagoon so that you could see the light show, that is the dinoflagellate organisms glowing in the middle of the water while you swim through it all around your body, call or WhatsApp 750-8369. And if you don't get through there for any reason, call 484-6726 so that your next Tobago adventure is your best Tobago adventure.